Hi, and welcome to today's episode. I'm excited to bring you this topic. It's not one that we've really explored on its own or very much. We've touched on it in a couple of conversations with some of our expert guests, which has been fantastic. But it's a topic that I really do want to bring to you on its own in a bit more depth, like I'm going to today, because it is massively important to living a healthy and long, strong life. Today, as I'm recording this, is the 15th of March and it's Sleep Awareness Day, and we're in Sleep Awareness Week. So I thought the topic of sleep would be very relevant to bring at this point in the year to get you thinking about your own sleep and how you can improve the quality of sleep that you have. Sleep awareness is about celebrating healthy sleep patterns. It's bringing awareness to sleep disorders and sleep challenges that globally many of us have. We're seeing a huge rise in sleep difficulty and sleep deprivation, where people aren't getting enough good quality sleep. So it's really a great time to re-emphasize that connection between your sleep and your overall health and well-being. Now, sleep really is the cornerstone of good, strong health and well-being. And that's why it's one of my 5 pillars of wellness, alongside mindset, movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. Sleep's in the middle of those 5. And how I explain the 5 pillars in a nutshell is that they're all intrinsically linked, and each one of them will impact the other. And that is why sleep is so important, because not enough good quality sleep is going to impact how you move and exercise and what you eat, your diet, the choices you make to have good nutrition or otherwise, how stressed you are and how you manage that stress, the way your mindset works, what you think, and how open you are to change and supporting yourself and so on. And likewise, challenges in those 4 pillars can impact sleep. And this is why I'm going to share 10 tips with you in today's episode, and maybe why you're quite surprised by some of those 10 tips, because a lot of people, when they want to improve sleep, and I do get this question and problem with clients quite often, they expect to go straight to bedtime and fix something at bedtime to help them sleep better. And this isn't how it works. Yes, that evening routine, bedtime routine is often an important set of habits to build to improve the quality of sleep, but it isn't going to work on its own, because you have that link to sleep from the other pillars of your well-being. So what else is going on in your life and how you live, and those habits and choices and rituals and routines, etc., that form the way you go about your day, very much will impact not just getting to sleep, but having good quality sleep through the night. And rest and recovery overall is so important for well-being and high performance, but rest on its own isn't always sleep. And we talked about this actually with a guest earlier this year, I think, or maybe it was at the end of last year, with Nikki St. Paul, and we talked all about rest and gave some insights into rest not just being about sleep, but sleep today is the element of rest that we are going to focus on, because less sleep means less productivity. It impacts our immune system, our diet and food choices, our hormone release, and the balance of hormones, which is especially important for women at that midlife stage as they navigate perimenopause and menopause. It impacts decision making, our attention span, our creativity, our ability to learn, to retain memories, and so much more. And sleep, it has been found to be something that can impact your lifespan. So the number of years that you live for, the shorter you sleep, the shorter your life. And, we know that undersleeping individual or short amount of sleep in individuals who have too small amount of quality sleep will be more at risk from earlier death from any cause. So, we need to appreciate the magnitude of the power of sleep and know that having sufficient quality sleep is really important. And for us women as well, we all want to age gracefully, and sleep really is Mother Nature's best effort yet at immortality. So it's going to help with us aging well and being strong on the inside as well as the outside. So this is to help you get sleep onto your priority list. Now, I just want to start with a quick, brief overview of the circadian rhythm. All living creatures have a circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is a clock in our body. And a lot of us most likely have heard that term. We probably just hear it called the body clock. And it's a 24-hour internal clock that is running in the background of our brains, cycling between sleepiness and alertness at intervals. And it's this body clock that is really important in helping us to be able to get enough good quality sleep. And that clock is vital as humans in keeping our physical, mental and behavioural systems in this balanced state of equilibrium, which we call homeostasis. So it's where everything is as it should be, balanced. And actually we have many other clocks in our bodies. It basically, clocks run everything. So we have this master clock, but we have other clocks throughout our body, for example, in our gut, our digestive system, in our hormonal system, and so on. But the body clock is something that is really key when we're talking about sleep. That circadian rhythm, the body clock, is controlled in an area of our brain called the hypothalamus, and it's gets its cues from the environment, especially light. So when it becomes dark at night, our eyes send a signal to the hypothalamus that it's time for sleep. And then in turn, that sends signals to our pineal gland to release melatonin, which helps to make you feel tired. And that's why the circadian rhythm coincides in that cycle of daytime and nighttime, so light and dark, which can be a challenge, certainly in Northern Hemisphere countries where we have much longer hours of darkness in our winter seasons. That's not something I'm going to dive into today. Now, the key is quality sleep. I want to keep emphasising this word quality. I've used it a few times already because a lot of us are obsessed with how much sleep we have, and nowadays we've got lots of devices that can track our sleep, and for lots of people they're very obsessed with how much sleep they have and constantly thinking about the amount. But it's the quality, and that isn't often measured in those devices or measured accurately in those devices. And it's the quality that is really important. As a nation, and guess as a global nation, essentially, when I'm saying this, in most countries and societies anyway, we have this approach to living fast. It's work hard, play hard. Life is busy for most of us with work, family, homes, social life, other caring responsibilities, technology. Yep, tech has shifted how we live and subsequently how we sleep hugely. And lots of sleep experts talk about the rise in use of technology and especially social media and blue light devices being a huge part of what's impacting our sleep and creating this sleep deprivation that we're seeing across the world. If you think about this, like how stimulated we are all of the time, not just from tech, but because of how our world now is, we are not used to having very much downtime. Certainly, if you look at this with kids, if you have kids or young kids, they don't know how to not do anything. Yet when I was a kid, you had plenty of time with nothing to do. There were 3 channels on the TV back then, before we got Channel 4, and it was huge to have this 4th channel. There was no on-demand TV, and life didn't revolve around the TV. You found things to do. It was colouring in, it was drawing, it was playing games, doing jigsaws, going outside, using your imagination to come up with some game and have fun. But life isn't like that now. everyone wants to be stimulated, and our kids are growing up in that world where stimulation is pretty much 24/7, and they don't know any other. And that's a big thing to consider when it comes to your sleep and looking at what might be causing problems in your own sleep, and perhaps in the sleep of your family as well. So, if your sleep is suffering and you know that you don't always perform your best and live the life you're working hard to live, then my top 10 sleep tips that I'm going to share right now with you can be really beneficial and perhaps transformative for some of you. Now, I share a lot of these tips when I work with my clients. They become part of their own health goals and form the habits that they want to meet or want to put in place to meet those goals. And I use a lot of research that I've taken from global sleep expert Matthew Walker, Russell Foster. Both of those guys are British, Nick Whitten, and other sources as well. So, a lot of science-backed tips and habits coming up. So let's get started with tip number 1. And this is the one that surprises people. And I often use this when I'm being interviewed on podcasts or other talks that I give, and I'm asked about how, people can sleep better. And instead of going to the bedtime routine, I give the morning routine as a tip. And people are like, oh, that's interesting, the morning. And this is because preparing for a good night's sleep starts the moment you wake up. How you kick off your day with your mindset, with your thought, with your energy, sets you up for the day ahead. And how you go through your day will massively, and I mean massively, impact how you get to sleep and the way you sleep at night. So I'm not going to go deep into my own morning routine or the morning routine that I use as a framework, but I want to give you what it is, which is my triple M morning. And this involves mindset, movement, and mindfulness. And in a nutshell, this is about getting mindful with how you might be feeling, what's going on. A great way to do this is in the shower. Feel the water on your body as you're taking your morning shower. We'll call out all 3 of those things. Don't need lots of time. It can be a minute each. The mindfulness could be doing a body scan in bed as you are coming into full consciousness to just set your mind and think about, what maybe you're feeling in your body. Is there something specific there that is different? Why that might be? Or also just to feel, that you're in bed, you're there, you're starting the day. Mindset is helping you to really get intentional with what you want to get from the day, maybe how you want to show up, one thing you want to achieve, maybe some affirmations, a bit of gratitude, but something that just really helps you to get in that right mindset and start your day with positivity. Movement can be anything from doing a workout, going for a walk, to just some squats when you get out of bed, maybe just some stretches. It doesn't have to be a big workout. This is just about moving your body to move your mind. So morning movement of any kind is a really great way to set up the tone for your day, whatever that might be for you. It really helps to stimulate those endorphins, release the hormones that help us to start to feel awake. It, like cortisol, pushing the cortisol up and helping to remove the melatonin hormone, which is what helps us to feel sleepy. So great start of the day will help you to have great sleep at night. My second tip is to stick to the same bedtime and wake up time 7 days a week. Our bodies love routine. That is how we're designed. I often talk about how essentially we're a machine, and that is why when we're working in harmony, we are optimally performing the way that we are meant to as humans. And when we're not optimally performing and we feel sluggish or tired or drained or in pain or all of those other things, frazzled, overwhelmed, etc., it's because we aren't using the machine the way it's designed to be used. So 7 days a week, you in your brain, you might know the difference, between Saturday and Monday, but your brain doesn't know the difference between a Saturday and Monday. So as much as you can, stick to routines. And a big thing to know, which is something I learned as I came into this sector, is that you can't bank sleep. You can't have loads of sleep one night and think, yeah, it's in the bank. Like, you've put some money in there and I'll take the money out when I need it. Sleep doesn't work that way. When you have banked sleep, that's it, it's there. Or when you've had extra sleep, it's not banked, it's just done, it's gone. It's not there being invested for the future. Likewise, when you don't have enough sleep, you can't make up for that. That sleep gap is there. It's gone. Again, it's happened. It's in the past. So what you get today is what you get today. What you don't get today, you can't be made up for tomorrow. It's all about regularity. And Matthew Walker uses the term regularity is king, which I love, because when it comes to sleep, that is really, a key thing to get into your mind and to know and apply to how you go about your sleep. And those irregular sleep patterns can have really big consequences on your metabolism as well, and interfere with insulin levels. It affects your hormone levels. So that's where, this link between the other pillars of your health can become very evident. I'm sure if you've ever had a night where you've not had enough sleep, the next day you're most likely craving heavy carbohydrates, sugary type foods, perhaps straight into having the coffees in the morning, really needing things to help perk you up. And that's because that hunger hormone, ghrelin, is massively increased. It's 28% higher when you haven't had enough sleep, and even 1 hour reduced sleep can cause that to happen. Likewise, the hormone leptin, which is the satiety hormone that helps you to feel full, is also reduced. So you've got more ghrelin making you hungrier and less leptin helping preventing you from feeling fuller. So you have this big gap, which is why you want to eat more when you haven't had enough sleep. Third tip is to get some natural light as early as you can after waking up. Now, again, lots of ways to do this. Make it work for you. This is an individualized approach, but daylight, especially early on in the morning, is really beneficial. It stimulates not only that energy we need to go about our day, but it triggers many other processes in how our body functions to help regulate that body clock, setting this rhythm of day and night. So given that we spend lots of time indoors, there's a percentage of 90% cited in lots of studies that as humans, we generally spend 90% of our time indoors. So we need to get outside and help to get those rays of light, which we don't see visibly with our eye. We just see this clear light when we go outside, think it has one colour. But there's actually different wavelengths, different types of light in daylight that do different things within our body. So it's really helpful to have that daylight early in the morning to help trigger those different hormonal processes that we need to optimally function and perform. The fourth tip is to have your last meal, and not just a meal actually, but any food or drink, excluding perhaps a herbal tea or water, at least 2 hours, but ideally 3 hours before going to bed. You want your digestive system to not be in motion when you go to bed. If you've eaten late, your digestive system cannot rest. It cannot do what it needs to do overnight to clean up and do the activities that happen within our gut, cleaning up, renewing the cells and so on, if it's still digesting food. It also inhibits the release of melatonin, which will affect your body's ability to get to sleep, as well as then potentially causing things like bloating, gas, indigestion, heartburn, things that are going to prevent you from easily falling and staying asleep. So having that gap is really important. My fifth tip is to prepare your mind and body for sleep. Now, a big one of the habits that I encourage you to build for this is to get off your tech as early as you can. Now, I often say at least 30 minutes before, but ideally it should be much longer. And I'm saying this because I know that it sends shivers down people's spines. You rely on tech, and for many people, their downtime on an evening to unwind is using tech. It's going on social media. And I've had this quite a bit actually recently with a couple of clients who tell me that, when they get really late, when it gets really late at night and the kids are in bed and they've done all of their, paperwork, admin, catch up, clean up, etc., then and only then is it an opportunity to catch up on the day's social media and see what's going on in the world. And they feel like they need that. But then before they know it, it's after 11 p.m. or it's 12 p.m. and they're wound up, and they've had that blue light stimulating their eyes, which is preventing the melatonin from being released. So they're not feeling as sleepy, yet they were really tired 3 hours before that. How does that work? So try to avoid blue light for as long as you can before bed. You can get things like blue light glasses if you have to work on an evening. But remember, it's also not just the blue light, it's the stimulation and it's what it's doing to your mind in terms of feeding it with often quite negative news stories, or it can be very triggering for people just looking at other people's social media. So it starts, this process of thought in your mind, which can ruminate and lead to so many other things that go on, not just in your mind, but in your body, and prevent sleep. So really think about that. And something that I talk about here, which again surprises people, is as adults, we expect to be go, 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 using devices on social media, watching Netflix, and then just get into bed and literally, with the flick of a switch, turn off the light and go to sleep. And then we wonder why an hour later we're still lying awake. Well, we need to help ourselves become sleepy and ready to go to sleep. We do that with our babies, with our children. We give them that lovely warm bath. We take our voice down. We dim the lights. We read a story. We have cuddles. We maybe stroke them. I miss doing all of that with my daughter. And, then they get to sleep because we give them triggers and signals that their brain learns means it's bedtime, it's sleep time. But for us, we expect to just be scroll, 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 Facebook, Instagram. Oh, this is going on. Turn off the light. Now I should be going to sleep. But it doesn't happen. So ease yourself into sleep. The sixth tip is to curate your environment to support good sleep, and think about your senses with this tip. So what can you see? How dark is it? Make the room as dark as you can. Hearing, quiet. Some of us, like me, needs perfect silence. Other people like a bit of white noise or some sleep music to help get to sleep. So think about that environment, the temperatures, what can you feel? That's a really important one. Ideally, 16 to 18 degrees in a room. 17 is apparently the perfect temperature. Some people like to have a window open to help with the temperature, but also to let some air circulate. The feel of the quilt, the pillows, the blankets, sheets, whatever you use. How can you make sure that that's comfortable? The mattress is a big one. If you have a mattress that is causing problems with perhaps back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, and so on, then that could be disturbing your sleep. So, really curate that environment. Think about what you need. And with this is also making the bedroom the haven for sleep. If you use the bedroom to work in, to watch TV, to have your pets, go wild and crazy playing games with the kids, it's quite hard mentally for your brain to know that that room is also somewhere where it needs rest, recuperation and sleep. So think about what you do in your bedroom and try to make it as much as you can only for resting and sleeping. And you can use obviously things like aromatherapy oils, sprays, but I would just call out to look at sprays and potential toxins in them, and use things as natural as you can, like natural chamomile, lavender, geranium's quite a nice one, yang, I think it is. The seventh tip is to journal for a mindset to sleep. And this can be a really great tool. I mean, journaling full stop is so powerful as a wellness tool, but at bedtime can be brilliant for offloading all of those thoughts from your busy mind. So getting out what's still going on in your mind. What do you have to do tomorrow that might keep you awake if you're thinking about it and worrying you're going to forget? maybe just processing some of what happened that day and getting that out. So, journaling in terms of writing down physically is very powerful. You could also journal just in your mind, but I think writing is the most powerful way to do it. Perhaps set some intentions for how you want to sleep that night. So just really de-stressing and trying to empty the mind to relax. And this can be a great ritual to build into that bedtime routine. The 8th tip is to avoid stimulants. Now, this includes nicotine, smoking, caffeine, alcohol, obviously, any drugs, but think as well about pain relief and check whether medication you have to take on a regular basis is okay to take at night, or could that actually be stimulating. And one of the things I would mention here with women is if you are on HRT and you have a progesterone form of HRT, the estrogen capsules, to take that at night time, because that can be very relaxing. And I know some ladies weren't told that and were taking it on a morning and taking the estrogen gel on a night, or the tablets if you're on the combined tablet form of HRT. So just check that out and see if there's a way to split that up and have the estrogen on the morning and the progesterone on the night to help you with going into a good deep quality sleep. Now, when it comes to caffeine, this is a big one, and this can vary actually, because everyone is individual in terms of how they respond and process caffeine. I can't have caffeine at all. I never have been able to. Even in tablets, it just doesn't work well for me. So this isn't something that I have to worry about. And I know people who say, oh, I'm fine having a coffee on a night, I can still get to sleep. But often then they wake up in the night. And that's the thing with caffeine. Now, caffeine blocks adenosine, and adenosine is a chemical that's made in the body, and it builds up through the day as you're awake, so that it's the sleep pressure that's helping you to be sleepy and go to sleep. And it works alongside the melatonin, but they both do different things. Now, caffeine basically puts blockers on those receptors of adenosine, so that the adenosine can't be seen and felt, if you like, and do its job in the body to feel sleepy. And caffeine has a half-life, which means that 6 hours later, it's still 50% of its caffeine strength, and it takes a long time to work through the body. And again, that's different for individuals. So just be aware that caffeine can be working many hours after and be blocking some of those adenosine receptors, meaning that you're not as sleepy as you should be. Now, alcohol can put you to sleep, and lots of people use alcohol thinking it's a good sedative to help them sleep better. Now, it is a sedative and it can help you get to sleep, but it's also a stimulant, and it causes other problems with other hormones that mean you don't stay asleep. And that's why if you've had a lot to drink the next day, you may think, well, I've been asleep all night, but I feel absolutely knackered, because it's causing lots of wakefulness, which is often unfelt because they're very short, sharp. Personally, I do know that I'm wakeful a lot after drinking alcohol. I can feel that, and I know that that's why I'm not I'm not energized the morning after, even if I haven't had much to drink. So sleep really disturbs your quality of sleep, but it also, and this is the biggest problem, it limits the deep REM sleep. That is the restorative sleep we need most. And that's what helps with our recovery and memory retention. It cleans up the brain and so on. So, alcohol might sedate you out of wakefulness to help you get to sleep, but it doesn't induce a natural sleep. And that brainwave state you're in when you are asleep after alcohol isn't natural sleep. It's actually almost alike to a form of anesthesia. So think about drinking as well, and try to not drink alcohol in an evening or late, ideally 3 hours before you go to bed. The 9th tip is to move your body during the day. Now, I touched on movement as part of a morning routine, but any movement through the day is really beneficial. Again, it can help with the body clock, especially if you're outdoors exercising, but it's also helping you to feel tired at night. It's raised your heart rate, increased your blood flow, got that oxygen moving around your body and the cells during the day, which all helps you to need that rest and recovery in an evening and get better sleep. So exercise, we know is a great tool for so many things in our well-being. It can help to reduce stress, make us more resilient, make better food choices, and all of those things are going to help you to switch off and sleep better. Now, my 10th tip, final tip, is a lovely one. This is to end your day with gratitude. Now, I've mentioned journaling, but I've separated intentionally gratitude out from journaling because I want you to make gratitude kind of the last thing you do as you close your eyes. So yes, you can practice gratitude in a journaling exercise that you do as part of your evening or bedtime routine. But I mean, when you're in bed and you're about to go to sleep, and a great way that I do this is with Kev, my partner. We share what we're grateful for that day, because shifting your mind into a positive state and really appreciating what you have in your life, what's happened that day, and finishing the day in that way is really a peaceful way to end the day and help you to go into a state of sleep feeling that peace and fulfillment. So, think about how that could work for you. It doesn't have to be talking it out with someone. I did it last night on my own, for example, just lying there and just thinking about what I was grateful for and just trying to have those lovely thoughts also mean that I'm not going off onto other thoughts that might prevent me from going to sleep. So it's kind of I don't want to use the word hypnotic, but it is putting your mind into a state intentionally of what you want it to think about and focusing on that, and sometimes using imagery with that, in terms of the gratitude, thinking what you're grateful for and having a lovely peaceful scene there can be really helpful. And we know positive psychology shows that practicing gratitude is consistently associated with higher levels of happiness. And guess what? The more happy and content you are, the less stressed you are, and the better you are going to sleep. So there you have it, 10 tips. Now, there are so many more tips that I could give, and lots of small things that I guess come under some of these headers of the 10 tips. But I think these are really great ways to help you support better sleep. I know changing your sleep habits can be hard, but it is possible, and it can be so beneficial in helping you to wake with energy and vitality. But it also has a psychological and physiological effect on your health, which is really protective of your future health and longevity. So, yes, sleep, as I said at the start, is linked to how long you live for, and not enough good quality sleep is a cause of early mortality. It's also proven to strengthen brain health and promote stronger mental health. So, we are ticking lots of boxes and really supporting ourselves for tomorrow as well as our future further down the line. Now, I want you to know that there's lots of tips here, but it's not about putting all of them in place at the same time. This is about looking at what might help you the most right now and maybe focusing on one of them and just really embedding that in who you are and your habits and routines, seeing how that changes your sleep and how you feel, and then looking at the next thing, because we can't do it all. There are things that I am still working on for my sleep to improve, and there are things that I haven't started to implement, but I know are there in the future as habits that I would like to build. So, just take that one tip right now and know that it will have benefit and ripple out into all areas of your wellness, because, as I said, sleep is fundamental and a cornerstone pillar to all of your health and well-being. So think of it as your superpower. Think of it as self-care. Think of it as stress relief. Think of it as something that is going to be very productive and possibly very life enhancing. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, I love to get feedback. So if any of these tips have resonated with you and you're going to give them a go, I'd love for you to reach out on social media and let me know. You can message me on Instagram, LinkedIn. I like to hang out on both of those platforms. So yeah, keep me informed. And if you do share this with someone else, let me know as well, because I always appreciate the podcast being spread out to help others live a healthy, happy and strong life. So thank you and take care.